This is your girl, Jamie Reed Poetry, host of The Dirty Pleasure Show with The Dirty Pleasure Show. Now we are live. You can go to the store and be sure to unlock the 10% discount when you subscribe to the newsletter. We've got a catalog full of goodies for you. We've got 2 bundles that you want to check out, the Hot Auntie Starter Kit as well as the Dirty Bag Swag. We've got a little bit of something for everybody on this website. You can also find our social media links and how to connect with us, as well as if you want to be a guest on the show. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel because season 3, if you're seeing this and hearing this, season 3 is right now. So be sure to go to the Dirty Pleasure Show and check out some information about myself, J. Marie Poetry. But you can also get a little bit more detail there and understand a little bit more about maybe stuff I hadn't said. But you can definitely see us on the YouTube channel. You can also see us little snippets here and there on the website, and then you can click on the Hear Us tab. We're on all platforms, Amazon, Audible, Apple, and Spotify, just to name a few. Be sure to go to thedirtypleasureshow.com. Now enjoy the show. Let's get dirty. Maybe I should pull it up on the other screen.
Actually, I might switch to a different device because I don't have my charger. But
okay.
Continue.
Okay, we are live. We're live. There we go. What's going on, everybody? I'm J. Marie Poetry, host of The Dirty Pleasure Show and owner of Dirty Words Apparel.
I'm Brandy. I am the co-host of The Dirty Pleasure Show. I'm also owner of the BK Pleasure Palace. I do sell bedroom candy products and candy-coated products. And
all right. Thank you for that intro. So today's show, I'm very, very excited about it. We have a show, we're doing a series, and the series is called Love More, Hate Less. Let me just look at the screen because I have it there at the bottom. So Love More, Hate Less, we're focusing today on the LGBTQ plus community. And today we have some members of that community with us who are going to give us a little bit more insight into what issues that they may face in the community, and we're just going to have a discussion. Hopefully it's open enough that we're able to gain understanding from it, and hopefully not we got some issues here, but hopefully gain understanding. That's the goal with this conversation today. So to kick off things, I wanted to introduce, we have some other people that are going to be joining too, so once they do click in, we'll add them as well. But Nicole, we wanted to introduce you. This is one of our LGBTQ family members, LGBTQ plus family members. And I've got my one of our guests here, Erica Sunshine Devon, and Mel, as well as Little D Porter, or also known as Little D on air with K104. So we definitely want to welcome every one of you women for joining us today, and hopefully be able to contribute to the discussion that we are about to embark on. So, Nicole, with you being the very first one here today, there we go. There we go. Sorry, I'm clicking buttons on here at the same time as throwing me off. Okay, so I'm gonna let you have that, Brandy, and let me get back over here to the other part. Okay, so kicking off the first question, we did want to kind of discuss some of the topics that are around when someone says like, you're born this way. Do you yourself, Nicole, feel like someone can be born this way, or is there something that maybe trauma or anything like that that you think causes it? What's your opinion on that? Let me just ask that question.
Okay, that's a good question. I actually don't get asked that often, and I'm not an expert on knowing whether or not if it's something that you're born with or something that you just so happen to fall into, because sometimes that's the case. So my personal opinion would be, for me, I know that I always been attracted to women, but never acted on it until my mid-20s. Basically, I dated men mostly all the way up until then. And it wasn't because of a traumatic experience that I had with the man that made me want to date a woman. It was just the fact that I already had been attracted to women. I just never dated any. So I can't say for sure for myself if this was something that I felt when I was younger, because at the time, you know, you experiment things when you're younger. You're curious about things. So I just never acted on that curiosity. So I can't personally say, because everybody's journey and story is different from one another. Some people feel like they was born this way and that's it, point blank period. Some people say I'm through with men, so they're dating women. Everybody have their own reasons. So I can't really speak for everybody.
Okay, so it sounds like it is a misconception, because I know when I was raised, that was more, it was more perceived that you can't be born this way, that it's some sort of defect or some sort of trauma or whatever. And I think that is what the stigma, or I guess you could say the stigma is that a lot of times it's something's wrong, as opposed to this being something that you chose and it's your lifestyle choice, rather than some sort of trauma that brought about that choosing. So that is I know that's a tough one, because I have family who are part of the LGBTQ plus community, and they'll often have trauma that's associated with their reasoning. So for me, it was always associated with trauma whenever I heard someone saying that they would be interested in the same sex and things like that. So for me, that was how I perceived it, that it was tied to trauma. So did anybody else have anything to add to that before we move on to other questions?
No. So my little brother's gay, and we knew he was gay when he was like 7. The running inside joke in the family used to be, he came out the closet yet? No, that's crazy. And so by the time he finally told us, we was like, duh. But nothing happened to him. No trauma whatsoever. He's never had a girlfriend. He never went on a date with a girl. He's just, if nothing else, or if no one else, he's probably the biggest reason why I don't think people wake up and go, am I gonna like boys or girls? Let me pick one. You just do. And it's
you know what? I think I have family member who we had that came out. It was years ago. He was an adult at this point, or like late teenager. And he came out, and it was kind of like one of those moments too, where it was like, okay, we've been knowing that, you know? Yeah. And then it was, he tried to, well, see, I was raised with him almost like he was a sibling of mine. So I know he went through trauma. So for me, it was like, it has to be trauma associated with it, because I didn't just see it. Well, I guess I did know, for instance, for him, I did know, like, we've been knowing, dude, that's not a secret. Yeah. But I also know that he had some traumatic experiences. So for me, I still associated with trauma.
But to that, I would say, how many heterosexual women are sexually assaulted and are still heterosexual? Mm-hmm. That's trauma.
That's true.
I feel like it'd be a whole lot more lesbians if it had to be associated with trauma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I agree. What I've learned is, as I've gotten older, that opinion has changed, but that's how I initially associated. I should probably say, or kind of backtrack on that. That is how I initially associated it, until I started meeting more and more women where that was a difference. There was a difference in how they, became or came out the closet. It was never that they were associated or had a situation where they were dealing with trauma. So I've learned to disassociate that type of thinking, but originally that was how I was raised. It was like, no, there has to be something wrong.
A lot of us.
So
yeah. For sure.
This is your girl, Jamie Reed Poetry, host of The Dirty Pleasure Show with The Dirty Pleasure Show. Now we are live. You can go to the store and be sure to unlock the 10% discount when you subscribe to the newsletter. We've got a catalog full of goodies for you. We've got 2 bundles that you want to check out, the Hot Auntie Starter Kit as well as the Dirty Bag Swag. We've got a little bit of something for everybody on this website. You can also find our social media links and how to connect with us, as well as if you want to be a guest on the show. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel because season 3, if you're seeing this and hearing this, season 3 is right now. So be sure to go to the Dirty Pleasure Show and check out some information about myself, J. Marie Poetry. But you can also get a little bit more detail there and understand a little bit more about maybe stuff I hadn't said. But you can definitely see us on the YouTube channel. You can also see us little snippets here and there on the website, and then you can click on the Hear Us tab. We're on all platforms, Amazon, Audible, Apple, and Spotify, just to name a few. Be sure to go to thedirtypleasureshow.com. Now enjoy the show. Let's get dirty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way I'm sorry, go ahead, Jay.
No, you're good. I was trying to keep the conversation going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. The way I see it, is, being a part of the LGBTQIA plus community. Are you born that way? Is this a choosing? I'm of the mind that you are absolutely born that way. When I think about all of the violence against that community, I think about, a lot of the strife for someone to intentionally just choose, hey, you know what, I'm going to live in this lifestyle and know that my life is at risk. Know that, my lifestyle is going to be considered illegal in every single country on planet Earth. Who would just say, you know what, I'm just going to choose this because, right? So that's what I think about.
I be telling that to people too, especially like a Black man. You're already Black and a man. You're going to choose to be gay? All right. Like, you already got enough going on and you're just going to add to your plate? This is probably just who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah. That, and when we talk about and y'all bring up a good point, because when we talk about the violence, oh my goodness, the movement itself, Nicole, I want to get your take on it first and foremost. Now I know I have a generic question on the screen, but I have a way that that's not how I want to ask this question. So let's see. So the LGBTQ plus movement, do you feel like it is, well, how do you feel like the movement is being perceived these days I can't say as opposed to how it was, because we know, but what do you feel like the movement is these days in this time? How does it impact those who are a part of the movement?
To be totally honest, to say that I am a part of the community, I don't focus all my time on the movement, and that's because I prioritize what I'm actually concerned about. I'm Black and I'm a woman, and when I walk out the door, that's what people see first. People don't automatically see that I'm a lesbian. They see that I'm Black and then I'm a woman. So I'm more concerned about those issues. Those are the top of my priority list. And then everything else come after that. So as far as the movement, I respect, because I value respect. I value people, and I value people's way of living and what they choose to be. And so with that being said, I just think the movement is going better than what it used to, especially with transgenders and all the inequalities going against towards them. So yeah, the movement, I'm not part of the movement at this moment. I'm gonna be totally honest. Will I join it one day in the future? Absolutely. Because of the type of career that I'm going into, I have to be open-minded and want to get out there and make changes for everyone. But my priority is being Black and being a woman first.
Absolutely. Nicole, I think you make a good point about intersectionality. What I see is, I don't know, almost like there's this battle within the community itself. Are you Black first or you lesbian first, right? To your point, I'll say America, in particular, what do they see when they look at you? Absolutely. You're Black and you're a woman, right? And, to your point about, the transgender, lives within the community and again, going back to, the threats of violence and, how impactful they are as a part of that movement, right now. A lot of it, I want to say it goes without saying, but I think to acknowledge it, is pretty key, right? Because now, in workplace, you see people like in email signature lines where you have pronouns, that are listed, and whatnot. But, you typically don't. It challenges everything that we thought. If you go back to, let's say 20, 30 years ago, right? Just like looking at somebody, you're like, oh, okay, how do I refer to them? He, she, they, them, right? But it kind of puts it directly, in front of you. In that way, so.
Yeah. I believe that, Black women, we are at the bottom of the chain.
Mm-hmm.
The very, very, very bottom. So that's why I prioritize that. It's not that I don't respect or I don't think I value, the community that I'm a part of. But like I said, that's not my top priority. If I'm still at the bottom fighting because I'm Black and I'm a woman, I need to focus on that.
Even within the community, there's still hierarchy and racism.
Oh yeah, there's definitely. That was my next point. Yeah,
yes,
those
movements were not Black centered.
I have met racist white lesbians, racist Hispanic lesbians. I had Black gay, not Black gay, Caucasian gay men who don't like Black people. And it's I'm like, how does that work out for you? And I had this conversation the other day that I feel that a lot of, especially, the people who are racist, are just trying to fit in to the highest
acceptance, right?
Yeah, they trying to fit
in the Black community.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I may be gay or maybe a lesbian, but hey, I don't like them. So so won't you invite me into your circle? So I think it's trying to be up there with the people with the money, the people who have the status.
Yeah, okay. It's so many points. I'm trying to not forget what I was about to say because I was like, I didn't want to interrupt. So the pronouns. When we're talking about the pronouns, like one of the theories that I had, and this is probably not politically correct, but I felt like if I'm saying I'm he, she, them, they, then somehow I'm identifying myself as being a part of the community. And Nicole, I remember I was talking to you personally about that. And that was one of the things. And I was like, well, do they assume that because you identify with pronouns now, not that pronouns haven't existed, because grammar is grammar, but that's besides the point. When it identifies you as a LGBTQ, or does it identify you, let me say, as a ally, or does it automatically kind of categorize you as that? I guess you say that's my opinion. That's where I set with it, that it automatically categorized me as somebody who was with the community, as opposed to I'm just using these pronouns because now we're all supposed to use these pronouns.
I think it's that very last statement that you made, because you'll see it now in workforce, you see it in colleges. You can't just expect that, oh, everybody's gay. I think it's just something that they did to start identifying, helping other people who do identify as a different gender, but they may look like, they may look like a male, but they identify as a woman, or it's somebody and they identify as they. or them. I think it's out of respect to already know that, hey, this is what this person is, you know, this is what their lifestyle, this is what they're living, this is their name by. So I don't think nobody should say, oh, hey, I gotta say that I'm a girl or a he or him just to, you know, does that mean I'm gay? No, I don't think people actually think that. It's just something that's very common now to have respect for the people who do identify as, you know, them, they, he, and she.
Okay. In there too. I just put in the chat, but I think too, like as a part of this conversation, it's important that we really draw the distinction in between sexuality and gender, right? Because, you know, if someone identifies as, you know, either of those or any of those pronouns, you know, that we listed, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are, I guess we could say, homosexual or, you know, something that's affiliated in the community in that way.
That's a good point. And I'm maybe somebody who's being honest about that opinion, because I know more people who have that opinion who just aren't open enough to say that they were ignorant of that at some point. Some people would just either be like, nah, I don't, because I'll say, you know, do you identify as he or him or whatever? Like when I'm talking to my coworkers and they're like, why would you ask me something like that? And I'm like, no, because I'm asking you, do you do the pronouns? And we're like, and then one of them, my coworkers was like, nah, I mean, why you trying to say it like that? And I'm like, I'm not trying to say it like nothing. And that's when I knew, like, oh no, it's more than me who thought that same kind of thing. Where like as soon as I start putting the pronouns on stuff, then all of a sudden I'm in this box with what I thought was like, okay, this is identifying me as LGBTQ, so I don't need to do that. But those who are LGBTQ plus, they do that, and that makes sense for them to do that. But why would I do that? I guess that was my thing, was like, why am I doing that though? Yeah.
So full transparency, I'm an HR professional, so transitioning into an institution. Okay. So let me lay that out there. So, you know, my specialty is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, right? So that is a very common question that you get in the workplace is, you know, well, you know, why should everybody list their pronouns, right? But it really does build that inclusive environment, you know, of belonging. So yeah, nobody feels like they're just out there, right? So I'll always list my pronouns there, which is, you know, she, her, hers, right? Does it necessarily mean that, you know, I'm lesbian or gay? Personally, I don't feel that, you know, my sexuality is really anyone's business, especially, you know, in the workplace, but that's my personal choice, right? And I think that everybody else has, you know, a choice there. So if you're ever curious about, you know, someone's preferred pronouns, I've done a lot of work in this place. So I would just ask like, hey, what are your preferred pronouns? And then it just makes it so much easier. And I think that people will respect that, you know, more so than, you know, just, I don't know. And I know you don't mean any harm by it, but, you know, just saying, hey, are you he, she, they, them?
No, or even saying, hey, what are you? Like I've heard somebody say that in the workplace and I was mortified. Brandy, I don't know, do you deal with this at your job? When somebody says, hey, you know, what are you? Have you had that situation happen?
We haven't, but
hey, what are you?
We've had issues with a company sending that person's information over as one way and they identify as something else. And not knowing how to address it, we would just say, you know, we would just keep the courtesy without trying to label anything. But my issue came into when it's clear if we're trying not to offend or upset, because that's the last thing we want to do for a customer. But then instead of just correcting me, you go online and you write this review, just how we need to be more inclusive and understanding. We didn't know what you identified as. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Just that's what we ran into with that. So I haven't really necessarily ran into that with, let's say, on the employment side at work, but with customers, we've had a couple issues, but I'm just here to listen tonight, so.
Okay. No, I want to kind of hear from, I'm trying to make sure we hear from everybody with this because I know we all have dealt with it in the workplace in some type of capacity. And I know one time I was watching, it wasn't necessarily a coworker of mine. Well, they worked at the same company, so yeah, they were a coworker of mine. But I didn't work directly with them, so I didn't know their personality or their temperament. And one of the guys was joking around with the other guys, and he was like, "Hey, what are you?" And then the guy turns around and jokingly says, "He, she, them, they, whatever." And I was like, "Are you really gonna do that in the workplace?" Like the ignorance of it was just, it was unreal. I was just like, this is the day and age, you can't play like that, you know. And it brought something to my sort of attention, because I was like, well, how do you know, approach somebody when you're asking that? And when it's in what pronouns do you prefer, that sounded way better than, hey, what are you? Like, I'm human. You know, that's the first answer. I'm a black woman. My second answer, you know,
Erica.
You know, yeah. So it's just like, what? So that was just such a crazy thing for me to hear somebody say in the workplace. Nicole, I want to ask you, have you had any loss of friends and family when you came out the closet? Like, how did you experience your coming out the closet moment?
I actually remember like it was yesterday. I posted a picture of me and my girlfriend, who I'm still currently with. And this was like 2015. And I don't know, I think there are people who was excited, people who was like, oh, she finally out the closet. Oh, let me holler at her. And I didn't lose anybody. Of course, I had, you know, some issues, you know, as far as my parents feeling a certain type of way, because, you know, I'm not the baby, but I'm still their daughter, you know, and I guess their depiction of what my future was supposed to look like didn't, you know, go as well, didn't go that smooth. And now it's good. I don't have any issues as far as losing any friends. Everybody was acceptive of it. And I think I was one of the lucky few who actually didn't get shunned or kicked out on the streets, or, you know, became depressed and strung out, you know, and just doing things, living out on my own. You know, I came from a very loving family, so, you know, they loved me above everything else. So because of that love, that's what, you know, and then them not shunning me and everybody, even though they felt like maybe it's wrong, nobody never told that to me. You know, so I appreciate really that. Yeah, I really do appreciate it, because I have friends who went through hell and high water. Like, they went through it, you know, want to commit suicide, on the streets, selling drugs, you name it. So I was one of the very lucky people to actually have a good coming out experience, and still am experiencing a good experience. I haven't had anybody come to me on the streets saying nothing crazy besides, oh, you too pretty to be, you know, gay or whatever, you know, some silly stuff like that. But other than that, most people just stare still.
Okay.
So, and you know, I don't have a problem with it. I just don't want nobody to come and tell me nothing. So, and I haven't, you know, knock on wood, haven't had that issue. And it's been 10 years now since I've came out. So
that's beautiful. Yours is definitely one of the rarest experiences. And I wanted to bring a comment on the screen. IMBW, she says that respect goes a long way. And we live in a world where if we want to receive respect, we must first give it. Respecting the pronouns is a part of it. And we just got to keep on growing. I definitely agree with that statement. And it's one of the things that I think taught me what it truly means to see somebody. When I see men go through that and be bullied and be done in that capacity, I can't. it's just not something that I like to see, and it's something that I'm automatically going to defend because I just don't like that. This is your girl, Jamie Reed Poetry, host of The Dirty Pleasure Show with The Dirty Pleasure Show. Now we are live. You can go to the store and be sure to unlock the 10% discount when you subscribe to the newsletter. We've got a catalog full of goodies for you. We've got 2 bundles that you want to check out, the Hot Auntie Starter Kit as well as the Dirty Bag Swag. We've got a little bit of something for everybody on this website. You can also find our social media links and how to connect with us, as well as if you want to be a guest on the show. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel because season 3, if you're seeing this and hearing this, season 3 is right now. So be sure to go to the Dirty Pleasure Show and check out some information about myself, J. Marie Poetry. But you can also get a little bit more detail there and understand a little bit more about maybe stuff I hadn't said. But you can definitely see us on the YouTube channel. You can also see us little snippets here and there on the website, and then you can click on the Hear Us tab. We're on all platforms, Amazon, Audible, Apple, and Spotify, just to name a few. Be sure to go to thedirtypleasureshow.com. Now enjoy the show. Let's get dirty. And I don't think that anybody who has that kind of human understanding of things likes to see that either. And it's one of those things that I think we have to be more sensitive of, but at the same time educating ourselves on it. I'm gonna bring, now I know it's 6 o'clock. It's getting to be 6 o'clock. So I know there are some of us that have to leave, but those who don't have to leave, how many of us have to leave? Let me first ask that question.
It's just me.
Oh, D, you have to leave?
I have to leave in about 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
I have to go.
Yeah, I have 15 minutes left myself.
Yeah, same.
Same? Okay, I'm gonna bring up Jamel because he had a situation at his home. I wanted to get a male perspective of this, and that's why I wanted to bring him into the mix. So once he gets back on the... Say what?
I say infused cocktails.
Yes, it is.
Hey, Jamel.
Stay in the house.
Where's Jamel to come on the screen?
He is. He's getting there. So,
what up, everybody? What's going on?
How you doing?
So, Jamel, just to kind of double back, if you want to check the private chat, we have some questions that we addressed early on, but I wanted to get your take on, let's say, do you feel like, do you have any friends, friends who've come out the closet who were perceived as this macho man type of dude, or whatever kind of way you would say it, that then came out the closet and then was treated differently because of that? Do you have any experience in that arena?
The only family member, I have family members that came out the closet, but they transitioned and embraced the full identity of the opposite sex that they were portraying. They didn't stay in that specific identity, if that makes any sense. So they were just embraced. Meaning what they changed into is what they were embraced for. So nobody really spoke to what they once were, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so you have like transgender men and women in your family? Correct. Where they like transition from a man to a woman, or from a woman to a man?
Exactly, both actually.
Okay. So in that case, they weren't treated any differently, you're saying?
I mean, they were treated differently according to what they wanted to be treated as. Like what they wanted to be treated is what everybody treated them as. We just, you know what I'm saying? There's a whole, it's a whole culture around it. So there's a lot to learn, so to speak, because I mean, that's an entirely different realm. You have to get to know it. So it was some education around it for the most part for everybody they were interacting with. But once we got it, we got it. That was it.
Okay. Do you feel like, as a heterosexual man, and I know this from previous shows, we've had you on before, so we know you're heterosexual. As a heterosexual man, I
honestly don't like that you assume that, because I never said that. I'm joking. I am joking. Oh my God, I'm joking. Please don't take that seriously. I'm just playing. I'm sorry. All right, serious Jay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm serious.
Okay. So, as a heterosexual man, do you feel like if you embrace too much of the LGBTQ community or too much of the cause that you're perceived as being a part of the community, or do you have any kind of what am I trying to say? Do you catch any kind of hell? Let me say it the way I'm trying to say it instead of being all proper. Do you catch any kind of shit just being a Black man that embraces those of the community? Is it hard for you to?
Of course I do.
Okay.
Unfortunately, people, one of the things that I learned very recently, actually, is that you can't change a person's perception. No matter what you do or how you do it, it's impossible to change another person's perception. They have to change their own perceptions. You see what I'm saying? All you can do is portray what it is that you want them to perceive. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And hope to God that you're being authentic to yourself, of course. But realistically, me personally, I don't bother myself with how people perceive me. Like I really don't care, because at the end of the day, not to be so rudimentary, their thoughts, their opinions, and their perceptions don't pay my bills. They just don't. I mean, do I want people to perceive me as gay? Not necessarily, but I don't give a fuck if they do. Just because like, honestly, at the end of the day, when I go home to whoever I'm going home with, who I'm laying down with has zero effect on their life whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't. Their perception of who the hell I'm sleeping with doesn't matter to me, because I know who I'm laying down with. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of what they say, I really don't care. I don't care. I mean, I don't necessarily like the chat, you know what I'm saying? Because that's disrespectful. At that point, we can get into some other shit. But beyond that, I don't care.
Okay.
A certain level of confidence to feel that way too. Like, the more confident and aware and sure you are of yourself, the less of a fuck you gonna give anyway. And so I always say the key to life is loving yourself enough to make the right decisions. Because the more you pour into you, the less of a fuck you give who doesn't. So kudos to you for having self-esteem. We need more Black men like you.
I'm gonna be real with you, because like we not gonna pretend like people's words don't annoy, bother, or hurt. Because at the end of the day, people can say some shit to make you want to put hands on them. You get what I'm saying? Regardless of how confident you are. Track what I'm saying? I give you a story. My brother was getting comfortable with his identity. You see what I'm saying? People was talking shit. And it was tons of times where I had to put my hands on people, you know what I'm saying, for them talking shit, regardless how confident I am. At the end of the day, I had to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a very thin line between respect and disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can tolerate some things. I'll listen to some stuff, but realistically,
It's your girl, Jamie Reed Poetry, host of The Dirty Pleasure Show with The Dirty Pleasure Show. Now we are live. You can go to the store and be sure to unlock the 10% discount when you subscribe to the newsletter. We've got a catalog full of goodies for you. We've got 2 bundles that you want to check out, the Hot Auntie Starter Kit as well as the Dirty Bag Swag. We've got a little bit of something for everybody on this website. You can also find our social media links and how to connect with us, as well as if you want to be a guest on the show. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because season 3, if you're seeing this and hearing this, season 3 is right now. So be sure to go to the Dirty Pleasure Show and check out some information about myself, Jamie Reed Poetry. But you can also get a little bit more detail there and understand a little bit more about maybe stuff I hadn't said. But you can definitely see us on the YouTube channel. You can also see us little snippets here and there on the website, and then you can click on the Hear Us tab. We're on all platforms: Amazon, Audible, Apple, and Spotify, just to name a few. Be sure to go to thedirtypleasureshow.com. Now enjoy the show. Let's get dirty.